Hi, in today's video I'm going to take a look at controlling OBS Studio using Emacs using the OBS command script, which is available for Linux, Mac and Windows. And I covered this in a couple of previous videos on how you can install this and set up the web socket server on OBS Studio and set the password. So what I'm going to be doing now is actually showing you how we can use an org file to execute command to control OBS Studio. And what we're going to be doing is we're going to be using noweb. So what's noweb? So let's have a look at this block of code here. Well, firstly, let's have a look at the properties and the startup here. What we're doing with the startup is saying show two levels. So when I open the document, it's just going to show everything that's got two headings here. Next line is properties, header arg, result silent, and then noweb yes. And the result silent will basically not output the result into the org document when we execute the source code block. And this noweb yes enables noweb so that we can create a block of code that we're going to reuse multiple times and just pass in a variable. So the OBS command script has a command called scene switch, and then what you do is you give it a scene name. So let me just pop across to the monitor here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to run Control C on this block of code, and what it's going to do is it's actually going to switch to the monitor with OBS Studio on. And what you'll see here is we've got this header variable scene equals monitor, and then this begin source sh, and then this scene noweb. So let's have a look at this little scene noweb here. So this is the scene noweb. So the other block is referencing this block of code, and what you can see here is we've got OBS command scene switch and then scene. So what that's going to do is it's going to replace scene here with the variable from the other block of code down here. So what it's going to basically do is it's going to run this block of code with this variable scene equals monitor and place that. So this will basically be OBS command scene switch monitor, as I'll show you. So I can put the cursor up here on the header, Control C, and you'll see it's now switched to OBS Studio. And what you'll see over here is a list of scenes that I've created for this demo. Let me just get a bit more tea. So first of all, what we got is laptop, which is obviously the laptop screen. We got monitor, which is the view you're looking at the moment, the external monitor. Then what I'm doing is I've got two window captures here for Emacs and Firefox. That's Pipewire window captures. And then further down here, what we've got is we've got another couple of scenes. We've got bunny, Sintel, and elephant. And what those are is they're media sources for videos from the Blender Foundation, which are open source animations created with Blender, so that I can basically play some videos. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to switch back across to here, and let me just reopen this. I'm going to switch back to the laptop. So you can see here, I've now switched to the laptop just by executing Control C here. And what you'll see is set current scene name laptop results OK. Now another thing I need to show you is config Emacs init org babel. Let's see, org babel execute. There's a bit where you can suppress the yes/no results for source code blocks. Because normally what happens is when you run Control C on a source code block, it's going to give you a prompt, do you want to run this code? And it's very annoying. And there is a bit of code somewhere which I'll probably link to when I find it afterwards, if I can just have a quick shifty through here. Disable ring bell. No, I'll have to have a look through it. Let me just go through the org stuff quickly. Right, okay, yeah. This is the block. This is what you want to stick in your Emacs init.el. setq org babel setq org confirm babel evaluate nil. And you also want these other ones down here as well. But the top one here will basically prevent the do you want to execute this block of code message coming up every time. Okay, so let's have a go through and see how we can use this. So you can see here I've basically got an org file, and each of these has got these blocks of code, and you know, can evaluate that, switch back here, evaluate that, and it's switching back. Now the other thing that's really interesting is you can see here the if I switch across here, sorry, cursors. Right, okay, so you can see here I'm capturing the whole screen here, so I'm capturing the whole laptop display, and so that's what's being displayed on OBS Studio. You can see here I've got the terminal, then I've got Emacs, and then I've got Firefox. What you can actually do is I can actually display Firefox without switching to that window. So you can see here I've just executed this that source code block, and the view has switched to Firefox using Pipewire window capture. And this is useful because that window isn't currently visible to me, so I can switch to windows that aren't actually visible. So let's switch back to Emacs here. So I can switch back to Emacs like that, switch to Firefox, back to Emacs, back to the laptop display, come across to the monitor. So you can see it's really nippy. There's no speed difference between using the script on the command line versus an Emacs. In fact, it's actually faster in Emacs because you don't have to type out the command. And also the issue with the command is there's no auto-completion for the options or the scene names. Finish off the T. So let's have a go through and fire up some Blender videos. So what I'm going to basically do is, as I said, if I switch across to the monitor, you can see here, these are the scenes: laptop, monitor, Emacs, Firefox, bunny, Sintel, and elephant. So switch across to the laptop there, and now I can fire up Big Butt Bunny, and you can see how this basically works. We've just got the same block of code, and all we need to do is change the scene name here. That's all you need to do. So it makes it really easy to actually duplicate scenes, because all you need to do is YYP, copy that, you know, new scene, give it a new scene name here, you know, new scene, and that obviously corresponds to something you've set up in Emacs, in OBS Studio. So you can see how quick and easy it is just to knock up a list of scenes. Unfortunately, as I said, there's no way to dynamically get the scenes from OBS using this script, as far as I can see. Let's queue up some videos. So here's Big Butt Bunny. And why am I not getting desktop audio captured? Okay, right, so that's annoying. Hang on a second, I got to do something. Let me switch this back to the laptop. So Let me check that I'm not sure that the thing was actually coming through. Right, okay, hang on. I don't think desktop audio was capturing it. Oh yeah. So what I want to do is uncheck all these. I've got this on monitor. Just bear with me a second. That should be. Let me just play this now. Oh, that's weird. I'm not sure why. I'm not getting any audio coming out. Okay, so what should happen is me fapping about here. Have I got this? Let me just put this to monitor. Oh, well, that's the thing is I can't put it to monitor and change the scene. Okay. So let me just pause this. And what I'm doing is actually, while you're watching this paused video, is I'm actually trying to set the audio to work, and I don't think it's picking up the audio coming through. Let me just. It should pick up the audio should come through the desktop. Don't know why the monitor and output's not working. So what you can do is sort of set the monitor. Okay, let me just stick that back and make sure everything's working. Sorry about this fapping about. What I was basically trying to do was monitor the audio output, and I had it working before. Okay, so that was me fapping about. So here's Big Buck Bunny. Here's Intel. I can switch back to Emacs here, like this. Go across to Elephant's Dream. Now, the thing is, if you want to skip ahead, you've got to click into OBS Studio and select the source, and then there's like a play bar that comes up, and then you can actually jump ahead like this. But there isn't a way to, as far as I can see, control that externally, which would be nice. What I mean is like the way you can control a video with MPV. So there's me switching to Firefox. Switch back to Emacs. Laptop. Switch to the laptop, so we got all the screens there. Again, switch to the monitor. You can see it's quite nippy, sort of jumping around. And you can either execute the source code blocks with the cursor on the source here, or actually on the header, like that. So you can see it's really nippy, jumping back between the scenes. I mean, that's all there is to it, really. Once you got everything set up, as I showed you in the previous videos, get it installed, set up the password, create the config file for the script. So what we got, basically, the way this works is, first of all, if I close it and open it up, you'll see by default it's just showing 2 levels. Because under this noweb block here, this is the scene. This is the how we create the noweb block of code that we're reusing. So the idea with this is, instead of having loads of source code blocks, each saying OBS command, scene, switch, laptop, monitor, that's silly. We can have the block of code, because the only thing that's changing is the scene name. Yeah. So we give this a name, scene noweb, begin source sh, scene switch, and then this variable, we're creating a variable here, and we're calling it scene because that's obviously what we're switching. So then all we need to do, you can see here, let me just zoom that out one, get them both in. Okay, so this is how we switch from the laptop, how we switch to the laptop display. So we've got, as I said, this is the noweb block, and you can see we have noweb yes up here in property, and we're putting it up here because it's easier than having to type it after each one of these source code blocks, because typically what you would do, you could do begin source sh and then type noweb yes. But it's a pain to have to type that noweb yes out every time, multiple times for all the source code blocks. So don't repeat yourself, stick it up the top, do it once, forget about it. So basically what we have is this source code block here. We say header var, so that variable, we're creating a variable called scene. So that variable scene here corresponds to this up here. We're saying scene equals laptop. And then in these double angled brackets, we have scene noweb, and that's the name up there. So what happens when we execute this block with Control C, Control C, is it's going to basically, it's like this block of text here is actually being replaced with this, yeah. And then it's putting in laptop afterwards. So it's replacing this bit of text here with OBS scene switch, and scene is then going to be equal to laptop. Same thing for monitor. So you can see it's just the same block of code, which, as I said, means you can just do YYP, create a new scene, and then just sort of change it here. I'm not sure if there's a way to get the. It'd be nice if there was a way to take the heading and use it like a very, take that heading there and use it there, so we don't have to repeat the name. That'd be nice. I was looking at a way to do that with the name option up here, but I couldn't figure that out. I'm not sure if that's possible. That'd be a nice little thing, just so that you could, if there was a way to say, header, right, and then it would just pull in whatever the header was, that'd be cool, because then you just would basically copy this, and all you'd have to do is change that name there twice. But that's just a little thing. But you can see these are all basically the same down here. And what we also have up here is the OBS command recording toggle. And if I Control C on that, it's going to toggle recording on and off. So let me just come across to there and back again. So what's nice about this is I can actually switch to Firefox here, which, as I said, is the is not visible, is is on a different workspace. So I can switch to that displaying that workspace, but still have Emacs displayed to me, if you see what I mean. So I can switch to Firefox and go, okay, yeah, this is OBS command, a minimal OBS CLI for web socket version 5 for OBS Studio 28 and above. These are the list of the supported commands. It's just got a minimal API at the moment. So you can switch scenes, switch cameras, recording toggle, streaming start, virtual cam start, replay toggle, replay save, and info. So that's quite handy. I don't have to have the window in front of me. I can still have Emacs in front of me, and then switch to that, and then I can just switch back to Emacs like this. switch over to OBS, come back to the laptop. So it's a really nice way to control Emacs, control OBS. And so the issue is on the command line, if I run OBS dash, let me make that a bit bigger for you. So if I run obs-cmd tab, it's not going to give me auto completion. So if I type scene tab, press tab all day long, nothing's going to happen. So what you have to do is scene switch, and then like monitor, and that switches to the monitor. And then if I come back and do laptop, or I could do Firefox, like that. But as I said, the issue is there's no auto completion for the actual options here, or the scene names. So you have to actually manually type out the scene names. So that's why I was thinking that using a org file, an org document with org babel source code blocks you could execute, and then on top of that, let's throw in some noweb so that we don't have to have the same commands listed multiple times, because basically otherwise what we'd be doing is let me just show you what I mean. Test. What we'd be doing is this. Hang on. So that works as well. So if I was to put like laptop in here, or say Firefox, this is how you'd do it manually. Okay. And the issue is you'd be doing this like, okay, so test 2. So what I mean is you're basically typing out the same bit of code there. The only thing you're changing is the bit at the end. So why do that and risk sort of typos and that sort of stuff when you can actually just change one word, change the scene name, and you're good to go. So yeah, this is how you can control OBS Studio using Emacs and org files, org documents with org babel source code blocks. So the thing you need to do is set the option for org babel evaluate to nil in your init.el. Because if you don't, every time you Control C, you get a little pop-up saying, yes, no, do you want to evaluate this block of code? Yes, no. So that's one thing you need to do. And again, up here, what we've got is the startup, the show levels 2. The important things we need are the header args, results silent. And that prevents the results being inserted into the org document. We don't need those inserted into the org document. So we run silent, and that's why we get that little message in the mini buffer. If you do output silent, it will actually output it, but on several lines in the mini buffer. So that's why we just do results silent. And then we have noweb yes, and that's so that we don't have to do, was it this after every source code block, which would be a pain, because as you know, it's very easy to create a source code block. I just come down to the bottom down here, I on the keyboard, shift left bracket S tab sh. So that's really, how it's really easy. Then you can create other noweb blocks. So I don't know, most of these are just toggling commands, so that it wouldn't really apply to those, I guess. Because I said with the, let me just get rid of that. For example, with the record option here, it doesn't really make sense to put that in a noweb block, there's no need for it. We're not sort of gaining anything from that. So what you can do is you can just create blocks here for stuff, streaming start, virtual cam start, replay toggle, replay save. So you could create little headings for those blocks, and then just create a source code block and put in the command, and then just execute it. It's much faster than trying to do that on the command line, because I said you can't. You've got no auto completion for any of these commands. I did try adding ZSH completion, which you can do. It's a little trick you can do, but it didn't work. So there's no auto completion. So that's why using Emacs is actually faster for this. So that's just a little idea I had for managing recordings using OBS Studio using Emacs, and it just makes it really easy for me to switch across to stuff. I can create different scenes and then switch to windows that aren't visible, switch back to laptop, and finally round it off with a bit of Big Buck Bunny. I'll put links to all this, and that's all for now.